Hello, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. Sit down, please. I'd like to speak English today too, to improve my speaking skill. Let's get it started. Today, it is on November 13th, 2023. It's on Monday and sunny outside. How are you spending Monday? Do you have a work or school today? Or have you already finished working or studying? Or have you got a day off today? Do you like Monday? Do you like or hate Monday? I think many people don't like Monday because the school day or working day usually starts from Monday, and they still have to go until Friday or Saturday to have a day off. So many days are left, and this is the reason why many people don't like Monday. But some people like Monday too. How do you like Monday? Are you going to have a party after working today? I caught a cold a week ago. I caught a cold a week ago. I still haven't recovered from the cold I caught a week ago perfectly. I still haven't recovered from the cold I caught a week ago. I caught a cold. I caught a cold a week ago. 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 I developed the disease a week ago. I developed the disease a week ago. I saw her walking with a stranger a week ago. I saw him walking with a lady a week ago. I just finished working a few minutes ago. A few minutes ago. I just finished working a few minutes ago. Oh, unfortunately, the train left here a few minutes ago. A few minutes ago. Unfortunately, the train left here a few minutes ago. A few minutes ago. The train left here a few minutes ago. A few minutes ago. A few minutes ago. I got the driving license 5 years ago. It was so beautiful a day that I couldn't resist going out. It was so hot a day that I couldn't resist swimming in this ocean. He drove so fast enough to make me sick. He drove so fast. He drove so fast enough to make me sick. He drove so fast enough to make me sick. The snoring sound was super noisy, enough to make angry, enough to make me angry, enough to make me angry, enough to make me mad, enough to make me irritated, enough to make me irritated. Unless it is warm enough to be able to swim, I would not go swimming. Hmm. The price for the watch was expensive enough for me to give up. The price for the car was expensive enough for me to give up. Hmm. The diner ate a lot of food, enough to make the customers surprised. The diner ate a lot of food, enough to make the chef astonished. Stunned. The diner took others by surprise by eating a lot of food. The diner ate a lot of food, enough to make the cook surprised, enough to make the cook astonished, enough to make the cook stunned, enough to make the cook by surprise. Hmm. He drove so fast enough to make me sick. He drove so fast enough to make me sick. He drove so fast enough to make me sick. He drove so fast enough to make me sick. He drove so fast enough to make me sick. He drove so fast enough to make me sick. He drove so fast enough to make me sick. Hmm. All of the students in the class were studying so diligently, enough to make me surprised. The celebrity in disguise was giving off something special aura, obtrusively, enough to make him seen through. The celebrity in the disguise was giving off special aura, obtrusively, even under the disguise, enough to make him seen through. The celebrity, even with the disguise, was obtrusive, enough to make her seen through. The cuisine was decorated beautifully, enough to make the customers happy, glad. The cuisine was arranged beautifully, enough to make the customers happy. The cuisine was arranged elaborately, enough to make the customers stand astonished, taken by surprise. The cuisine was arranged beautifully, elaborately, enough to make the customers focused on watching it. The video game was created by professionals elaborately, enough to make many players obsessed with. The new video game was created by professionals, engineers, elaborately, enough to make many players obsessed with. The video game was created by engineers elaborately, enough to make many players to obsessed with. The video game was created so elaborately by the engineers, enough to make many players enthusiastic about. The video game was created by the engineers elaborately, enough to make many players immersed into it. It was such a hot day, enough to make me sick. It was such a hot day, enough to make me buy 2 cans of water, juice. It was so hot a day, enough to make me buy 3 cans of juice. It was such a hot day, enough to force me to buy 3 cans of juice. It was such a hot day, enough to compel me to buy 3 cans of juice. It was such a hot day, enough to force me to buy 3 cans of juice. It was such a hot day, enough to oblige me to buy 3 cans of juice. It was such a hot day, enough to oblige me to buy 3 cans of juice. He drove so fast, enough to make me sick. He drove so fast, enough for me to get sick, motion sick. He ate a lot, enough to make the cook surprised. He ate a lot, enough to make the cook astonished. He ate a lot, enough to make the cook stand. The cuisine was arranged so elaborately and beautifully, enough to draw much attention from customers throughout the world. The cuisine was arranged so beautifully and elaborately, enough to draw much attention. The cuisine was arranged so beautifully and elaborately, enough to draw much attention. Why did you sell the guitar you just had bought a week before? It seems that you liked it. It seems that you would use it for a long time. It seemed that you would use it for a long time. It seemed that you loved it. Why did you sell your guitar, which you had just bought a week before? Why did you sell the guitar you had just bought a month ago? It seemed that you loved it. I thought you would use it for a long time. Why did you sell the guitar you had just bought a month before? It seemed that you loved the guitar. It seemed that you loved playing the guitar. I thought you would use it. I thought you would use it for a long time. I thought you would use it for a long time. Kindly. Be kindly. To my surprise, all of the pedestrians I asked to told me how to get to the nearest subway station kindly. Be kindly. Be kindly to others. Be kind to others. Kindly. 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 Be kindly. Be kindly. Be kindly. Be kindly. Seek to be kindly. Try to be kindly. Attempt to be kindly. Look to be kindly. I wish my boss were kindly. I hope my future boss will be kindly, sweet, accommodating, considerate, kindly, kindly, be kindly, be kindly, be kindly, 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 kindly. I still remember the kindly treatment by the hotel staff. I still remember the kindly treatment by the hotel staff. I still remember the kindly help from the stranger I don't know. She offered to share her umbrella with me, during the rain because I was working without taking an umbrella. I still remember the kindly help from a stranger. She offered to share her umbrella with me. I still remember the kindly help from a stranger. She offered to take an umbrella, share an umbrella with me. She offered to share an umbrella with me. She offered to share an umbrella with me. Share an umbrella, share an umbrella, share an umbrella with me. She was kindly, she was kindly, 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 kindly. Kindly. The passers-by told me how to get to the station kindly by writing the map on the paper. Kindly, the passers-by drew a map, drew a map to the nearest subway station for me. Kindly, the passers-by drew a map on the paper to the nearest subway station. Kindly, the passers-by I asked to drew a map to the subway station for me. Kindly, the passers-by I asked directions to drew a map for me. The passers-by I asked directions to drew a map to the nearest subway station for me. The passers-by I asked the directions to drew a map on the paper. The person I asked directions to the station drew a map. The person I asked how to get to the station drew a map kindly. The person I asked directions to the subway station drew a map for me kindly. Kindly, 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 kindly. The person in charge of dealing with complaints from the customer treated me kindly. The person in charge of phone call of the company treated me kindly, helped me to find out the solution kindly. The technical supporting team of the company helped me to find out the solutions kindly. The technical support team on phone call helped me to find out the solutions kindly. I thought I had bought the cutlery a month before. I thought I still had the towel in the stock room. I thought I had bought the towel and stocked in the stock room. I thought I had bought the extra towel and stored them in the storeroom. Why did you sell the guitar you had just bought a month before? It seemed you loved playing with it. It seemed you loved playing with it. I thought you'd use it for a long time. The person I had seen 8 hours before was swimming in the ocean in the morning, this morning. A guy standing at the table with his maybe friends I had seen 8 hours ago was still standing there when I passed by this evening. The person I had seen at the table this morning was still standing there this evening. The person I had seen at the table this morning was still standing there this evening when I passed by. By mistake, I bought the same gadget I had bought a month before. By mistake, I bought the same jacket I had bought a year ago. Although I still have it in my closet. By mistake, I bought the same jacket I had bought a week before. By mistake, I bought the same jacket I had bought 3 months before. By mistake, I bought the same jacket I had bought 3 months before. We finally entered the expressway after we had returned to the same place over and over again, time and time again. The same customer entered the restaurant who had been there 3 hours before, ordering T-bone steak. The customer entered the restaurant who had been there 3 hours before. All of the bread was sold out, which had been cooked 3 hours before. All of the fresh bread was sold out, which had been cooked 3 hours before. All of the fresh bread, which is repeated well, was sold out, which had been cooked 3 hours before. All kinds of bread in the bakery shop were sold out, which had been just made 3 hours before. All kinds of bread sold at the bakery shop, which had been cooked just 3 hours before, was sold out. All kinds of bread was sold out. All kinds of bread which had been made 3 hours before were sold out. The solar light went wrong. The solar light, which I bought 3 weeks before, went wrong yesterday. The sensor light went wrong yesterday, which I had bought a month before. The solar light broke down yesterday, which I had bought a month before. The solar light I had bought a month before broke down. The solar light I had bought a month before broke down yesterday. Hmm. It was such a miracle that I could take the examination on the day, since I had developed the disease 3 days before. It was a kind of miracle to be able to take the examination on the day, since for I had caught a sick the day before. It was a kind of miracle to be fine on the examination day, for I had caught a cold the day before. The gadget I had bought 2 years ago is already obsolete. To my shock, the guitar I had sold at a second-hand shop was selling for more expensive price. To my shock, the guitar I had sold at a second-hand shop was selling for more expensive price. To my shock, the guitar I had sold at the second-hand shop was sold for more expensive price. The record player I had bought a few years ago was sold well. The record player which I had bought about 5 years ago was sold for better price, thanks to the increasing popularity. Thanks to the recent increasing popularity for record or record player or record, the record player I had bought a few years ago was sold better. Please try to arrive at the international airport 2 hours before the departure time. The accident occurred, set in 5 minutes before the departure of the train. Thorough cleaning is planned the day before the inspection by the professionals. Drastic cleaning is expected the day before, 1 day before the maintenance of the machines. We have to clean our assembly line thoroughly before the people outside can visit us. to make sure give good impression to them. Okay. Drastic cleaning is expected, planned 1 day before the maintenance, usual maintenance of the machines in the assembly line. Drastic cleaning is planned 1 day before the inspection from outsiders. Drastic cleaning is planned 1 day before the usual maintenance by outsiders. Drastic cleaning is expected, predicted, anticipated, planned 1 day before the usual maintenance. Drastic cleaning is planned. Drastic cleaning is planned. Drastic cleaning is planned. Drastic cleaning is planned 1 day before the usual maintenance. Please reach to the international airport. Please reach the international airport. Please reach the international airport at least 2 hours before the departure time. I usually try to get to the destination we have decided to meet at about at least 5 minutes before the decided time. I usually try to reach the destination 5 or 10 minutes earlier. I try to finish all of the procedures and what I have to do by at least 15 days before at the end of the year, because I'd like to welcome the new year without duties and other hassles. I try to finish all of the things which I have to do at least 15 days before the end of the year and the new year. Therefore, I don't want to be bothered by duties which I have to do between the New Year's Eve and the New Year. The couple bought a house 3 years before the wedding ceremony. The couple bought a house 1 year before the engagement. The musician was determined to resign 1 year before the announcement. The musician was determined to resign 1 year before the announcement. The musician was already determined to drop out of the music industry 1 year before the announcement. The musician was already determined to resign 1 year before the announcement. Hmm. 2 hours before departure time. 2 hours before departure time. 2 hours before departure time. 2 hours before the departure time. 2 hours before the departure time. 2 hours before the departure time. Arrive at the international airport at least 2 hours prior to the departure time. 2 hours before the departure time. Hmm. Although it was 1 hour before the opening time, there were many customers lining up. Although it was 1 hour before the opening time, there were already many customers waiting in front of the shop. although it was already, although it was 1 hour before the the opening time, there were already many visitors while lining up in front of the temple. Hmm. Although it was 1 hour before the opening time, there were already many visitors lining up in front of the entrance. Hmm. I sometimes feel hungry a few minutes after eating. Do you feel so too? Sometimes. I occasionally feel hungry a few minutes after eating. I on occasion feel like eating a few minutes after eating. Do you also sometimes get hungry a few minutes after eating? I usually feel sleepy a few minutes after eating, especially if the class is boring. Hmm. I am inclined to feel sleepy a few minutes after eating lunch. I am apt to feel sleepy a few minutes after eating lunch. I tend to feel sleepy a few minutes after eating lunch. Hmm. When I looked into my son's room, 30 minutes after I had checked, he was sleeping. Water was not frozen. 15 minutes after I inserted them into the freezer. Hmm. water in the plastic container was not frozen yet. 15 minutes after I put them in the freezer. Water divided into some sections in the container was not frozen yet. 15 minutes after I had put them into the freezer. It started to rain soon after I stepped outside. Hardly had I stepped outside when it began to rain. I had hardly stepped outside when it began to rain. Scarcely had I stepped outside before it began to rain. I had scarcely stepped outside before it began to rain. No sooner had I stepped outside than it began to rain. I had no sooner stepped outside than it began to rain. You cannot be too careful when you cross the street. It started to rain soon after I stepped outside. Fireworks started to be launched soon after it turned 0 o'clock a.m. Many fireworks began to be launched into the sky immediately after it turned New Year. Fireworks displays started immediately after it turned New Year. Fireworks display started soon after it turned New Year. Fireworks started to be launched into the sky immediately after it turned New Year. Many fireworks started to be launched into the sky immediately, instantly, soon after it turned the New Year. Fireworks started to be launched. Fireworks began to be launched soon after it turned the New Year. I set the timer to ring 30 minutes after pouring the hot water into the cup noodle. I set the timer to ring in 30 minutes. I set the timer to ring 30 minutes after pouring hot boiled water into the cup noodle. I set the timer to ring 30 minutes after pouring boiled water into the cup noodle. Unfortunately, we arrived at the train station 10 minutes after the departure of the last train. Unfortunately, we arrived at the platform of the train station 5 minutes after the departure. 5 minutes after the departure. Although we arrived at the amusement park 30 minutes after the opening time, there were already many visitors lining up in front of the entrance. Although we arrived at the amusement park just 5 minutes after the opening time, there were already many visitors lining up in front of the entrance. Although we arrived at the amusement park just 5 minutes after the opening, there were already many visitors lining up in front of the entrance. Although we arrived at the amusement park just 5 minutes after the opening time, there were already many visitors lining up in front of the entrance. 5 minutes after the opening time. 5 minutes after the opening time. 5 minutes after the opening time. Hmm. 5 minutes after the opening time. 5 minutes after the opening time. To the order's surprise, all of the bread was sold out 30 minutes after the opening. To the order's surprise, all of the bread was sold out 30 minutes after the opening. To the owner's surprise, all kinds of bread sold at the bakery shop were sold out 30 minutes after the opening. To the owner's surprise, all kinds of bread sold at the bakery shop were sold out 30 minutes after the opening. 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 To the owner's surprise, all kinds of bread sold at the bakery shop were sold out 30 minutes after the opening. As is often the case with the tickets for the concert held by the famous musician, the ticket was sold out 5 minutes after the start. As is often the case with the tickets for the concert held by famous musicians, it was sold out 5 minutes after the start. As is often the case with the tickets for the famous concert, the tickets were sold out soon after the sale. As is often the case with the tickets for famous concert held by very famous musicians, the tickets were sold out soon after the start of the sale. As is often the case with the tickets for the concert held by very famous musicians, the tickets were sold out immediately after the start of the sale. Do you still care about her? Do you still care what other people say? Do you still care what other people criticize? Do you still care what other people criticize you? Do you still care what other people criticize you about? I still haven't recovered from the cold I caught last week. I still haven't recovered from the cold I caught a week ago. I still haven't recovered from the cold I caught a week ago. I still haven't recovered from the cold I caught a week ago, not a year. I still haven't recovered from the cold I caught a week ago. I still haven't given up my dreams. 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 I still keep a promise. I still keep the promise. I still keep the routine. I still keep the routine. I still keep the routine. I still continue the routine. I still continue the routine. I still keep the routine. I still have the present I got from you 10 years ago. I still use the pen and notebook which I got from you. I still cannot understand why many people behave as everyone else. I still cannot recover from the disease I got when I was born. I still haven't recovered from the cold I caught a week ago. I've been still suffering from the disease. I still suffer from the disease. Do you still love her? Do you still love him? I still haven't recovered from the disease I developed when I was born. My disease still cannot be treated perfectly with current medical technology. My disease still cannot be eradicated with the current medical technology. Have you finished homework yet? Have you finished homework yet? Have you finished doing homework yet? Have you finished writing the New Year greeting cards yet? Have you already writing the New Year greeting cards yet? Have you already finished writing the New Year greeting cards already? Have you finished writing New Year greeting cards yet? Have you finished writing or making New Year greeting cards yet? Not yet. I haven't recovered from the disease I got when I was born yet. I haven't recovered from the cold I caught a week ago yet. I haven't recovered from the cold I caught a week ago yet. I still cannot allow him. I still cannot tolerate 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 him. They haven't reached here yet. They haven't reached here yet. The order hasn't arrived here yet. The order hasn't arrived here yet. Have you already finished eating all of the menu? Already? While I was in toilet. Did you really finish eating the lunch already while I was in toilet? Did you really finish eating all of the menu while I was in toilet? Already? Did you really finish eating all of the menu already while I was in toilet? Oh my god. Did you really finish eating all of the menu already while I was in toilet? Oh my god. Didn't you throw it away? If you haven't introduced yourself to each other already, please do that. Although it is 30 minutes past the time schedule, our teacher hasn't arrived here already. She might be in trouble or in sick. She must be either in sick or trouble. She must be either in trouble or sick. Although it is 30 minutes past the time schedule, our teacher hasn't arrived here already. Our teacher hasn't arrived here already. Our teacher hasn't arrived here already. Although 1 month has passed since I made the order at the shop, the order hasn't arrived here already. Although 1 month passed since I made the order of the product at the online store, it hasn't arrived here already. It hasn't arrived here already. Although I made the purchase a month ago, the order hasn't arrived here already. The order hasn't arrived here already. Although I made the purchase of the product a month ago, it hasn't arrived here already. Although I made the purchase of the product a month ago, it hasn't arrived here already. Although I made the purchase of the product about a month ago, it hasn't arrived here already. Could you check that, please? According to the tracking number site, it's still under delivery status condition. It's still the status under delivery. Does it take so long usually? Because this is my first time to make the order from the shop. Have you already booked the accommodations and the flight tickets? If not, there are some good deals I'd like to tell you. Have you already finished booking the accommodations and flight tickets? Have you already finished booking accommodations and flight tickets? Have you already finished lunch? Have you already finished lunch? Have you already submitted the documents? Have you already applied for the job? Have you already turned in the thesis to your professor? Have you already turned in the thesis to your professor? Have you already turned in the thesis to your professor? Have you already turned in the thesis to your professor? Have you already handed in the thesis to your professor? I've had I've had enough of beef. No more beef, please. I don't feel like eating beef for a long time. For a period of time. For a time being. For a period of time. Although it's a month since I got the disease, I haven't recovered from it already. Although it's been almost a month since I caught the cold, my cough hasn't been stopped already. My cough hasn't stopped already. My cough hasn't stopped already. Oh, unfortunately, the last train left here 5 minutes ago. Unfortunately, the last train left here 5 minutes ago. 5 minutes ago. Really? I saw him 5 minutes ago. I saw him eating lunch at the cafeteria 5 minutes ago. Really? I saw him eating lunch 5 minutes ago. The president seems to have arrived here in Japan a few minutes ago. I've just arrived here. I arrived here 10 minutes ago. I got here 5 minutes ago. I reached here 10 minutes ago. The incident happened today, 5 years ago. To my shock, the guitar I had sold at a second-hand shop was sold for more expensive price. I thought I had bought the jacket few months before. I thought I had bought the jacket few months before. I thought I had bought the jacket few months before. I thought I had bought the jacket few months before. I thought I had bought the jacket a few months before. I thought I had made the order few months before. I thought I had made the purchase of the product. I thought I had delivered the shipment few weeks ago, a few weeks before. I thought I had shipped the order few months before. I thought I had shipped the order few weeks before. I thought I had shipped the order few months before. I thought I had shipped the order few weeks before. A few weeks before. I thought I had shipped the order a few weeks before. I thought I had shipped the order a few weeks before. Hmm. I thought I had delivered the order a few weeks before. I thought I had shipped the order a few weeks before. I thought I had bought the detergent a few weeks before. Hmm. I thought I had bought the detergent before. Hmm. I thought I thought I had arrived there 30 minutes before. I thought I had arrived there 30 minutes before. I thought I had arrived there 30 minutes before. Hmm. The computer, which had been fixed a few weeks before, went wrong yesterday. Although the computer had been fixed a few months before, it went wrong yesterday. Although the production machine had been fixed a few weeks before, it went wrong yesterday. Although the assembly machine had been fixed, amended, maintained a few days before, it broke down yesterday. It broke down yesterday. It broke down yesterday. Although the assembly machine had been fixed, maintained, amended a few days before, it broke down yesterday. Although the production machine had been fixed a few days before, it broke down yesterday. Although the assembly machine had been fixed a few days before, it broke down today. To my shock, the guitar I had sold at the second-hand shop was selling for more expensive price. Hmm. To the owner's surprise, all of the bread sold at the bakery shop was sold out. "30 minutes before the opening." 30 minutes after the opening. Although we had arrived at the amusement park 30 minutes before, there were already many visitors lining up in front of the entrance. The gadget, which had been released 2 years before, became obsolete now. The gadget, which had been released 2 years before, lost popularity now. The video games and the consoles, which had been released 20 years before, selling was sold for very cheap prices at the second-hand shops. Many video games and consoles which had been released about 20 years ago, yes, were sold for very cheap prices. To my surprise, the DVD player I had sold at the second-hand shop was sold for more expensive prices. To my shock, the DVD player I had sold at the second-hand shop was sold for more expensive price. I thought I had shipped the order a few days before. I thought I had shipped the order a few days before. I thought I had shipped the order a few minutes before. I thought I had shipped the order today. I thought I had shipped the order this morning. I thought I had shipped the order along with other orders from the post office this morning. I thought I had shipped the order this morning. I thought I had shipped the order this morning. Excuse me, I'm looking for a jacket with at least 3 pockets in front. Excuse me, I'm searching for a jacket with more than 3 pockets in front. Excuse me, I'd like to know if the hotel offers shuttle bus between the hotel and the airport. Excuse me, do you offer shuttle bus between your place and the station, train station? Excuse me, does your hotel offer shuttle bus between the hotel and the station? Excuse me, does your hotel offer shuttle bus between Sannomiya Station and your hotel? Sure. The shuttle bus runs every 30 minutes. The shuttle bus runs every 30 minutes until 11 o'clock p.m. うん。Does the hotel offer shuttle bus? Does 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 the inn offer shuttle bus? Does the guest house offer shuttle bus? Does the guest house offer shuttle bus? The ryokan offer shuttle bus? Hmm. What time was the last one of the shuttle bus? What time is the last one for the shuttle bus? What time is the last one of the shuttle bus? What time is the last one of the shuttle bus? What time is the last one of the shuttle bus? What time is the last one of the shuttle bus? What time is the last one of the shuttle bus? When is the last time for the shuttle bus service? What time is the last one for the shuttle bus service? Excuse me, does your hotel offer shuttle bus between Sannomiya Station? Does your hotel offer shuttle bus from Sannomiya Station? Excuse me, I'd like to know if your hotel offers shuttle bus from to Sannomiya Station. I usually take trains to go to downtown Tokyo from Narita Airport. I usually take trains from Narita Airport to downtown Tokyo. There are some options to go to downtown Tokyo. Trains, taxis, buses, express trains, and so on. I don't want to spend much money on the transportation, so I usually take normal train to go to downtown Tokyo. I also can use bus, but it can be crowded in the central, so I prefer to take trains because there is no signal. There are actually traffic signals in trains too, but no stop by congestion like bus or cars, taxis, and so on. So I take the trains to go to downtown Tokyo. I usually take trains to go to downtown Tokyo. Hmm. I took taking the bus into consideration, but for for second thought, I chose to take the trains because the bus might get into traffic congestion on the way, and there is no stop by traffic congestion in the railway. So I took the train to go to downtown Tokyo. Have you stayed in a guest house? 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 Guest house is very interesting, which is very reasonable. Maybe you can find friends and very international usually. I haven't stayed in a motel. How is a motel like? What is a motel like? What is staying in a motel like? I haven't stayed in a motel. Is it like a business hotel with minimum service? How is a motel like? What is a motel like? Motel, motel, motel. Have you stayed in a motel? Have you stayed in a motel? Have you stayed in a motel? A motel is located in the middle of the desert or road. A motel is located along the road for the car drivers. A motel is located along the road. A motel is located on the road for car drivers. Motel, motel. Have you stayed in a motel? Motel, motel. The cruise ship can accommodate as many as 2,000 passengers. The cruise ship can accommodate as many as 5,000 passengers. The van can accommodate as many as 8 passengers. The car can accommodate as many as 8 passengers. The hall set up in the countryside can accommodate as many as 1,000 visitors. The hall newly established in the countryside can accommodate as many as 2,000 visitors. What do you prioritize the most when you book an accommodation? Price, amenity, location, attitude of the staff, reputation, and so on. What do you give the priority to the most? What do you give the priority to the most when you search for an accommodation? What do you give precedence to? What do you give the precedence to the most? What do you give your precedence to the most when you search for an accommodation? Have you stayed in a suite? No, I haven't stayed in a suite. Suite is too expensive for me. I don't want to spend much money on just staying in an accommodation. I don't want to spend much money on staying in a hotel. I just don't want to spend much money on staying in a hotel. But sometimes I just spend much money on staying in a very comfortable room. Maybe for my birthday, maybe for something special occasion. Have you stayed in a suite? Suite. I prefer to spend more money on other things than to spend it on sweet room. I would rather spend the much I would rather spend money on other things than spend that on sweet room. I would rather I prefer to spend such amount of money on other things than to spend that on sweet room. I prefer to spend such amount of money on other things, maybe products, appliances, than to spend that on sweet room. Sweet, sweet. Have you stayed in a suite? Have you stayed in a suite? Sweet. Have you stayed in a suite? 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 Do you know the difference between apartment and condominium? Can you tell the difference between condominium and apartment? Can you tell apart from condominium? Can you tell apartment from condominium? Can you tell apart condominium from apartment? Can you tell condominium from apartment? Can you tell condominium from apartment? Can you tell apartment from condominium? Can you tell condominium from apartment? Do not litter. Do not litter. Do not litter. I warned you of that 3 times. Okay? If you break the rule, please be prepared for the punishment. Okay? Do not litter. Do not litter. The littered station after the party was cleaned by famous YouTubers. The scramble intersection is always littered by party participants after the party. The littered road with cigarettes was cleaned by famous YouTubers. The littered road was cleaned by famous YouTubers. I hate my room littered. I hate my room to be littered. I hate my room being littered after the party and during the party. Do not litter. There are many pet bottles along the expressway. Many drivers must have littered. Many drivers must have littered. There are many pet bottles along the expressway. Many drivers must have littered. 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 Littering in the trains is subject to 200,000 yen punishment, a fine. Littering in the public transportation in that country is subject to maximum fine of 200,000 yen. Littering in the public transportation is subject to maximum fine of 1 million yen. Littering in the public transportations is subject to maximum fine of 1 million yen. All of the participants are subject to the rules. All of the participants are regarded to be subject to the rules. Compliance. All of the participants are regarded as being subject to the rules. The flight schedule is subject to change. The flight schedule is subject to change according to the weather condition. So please bear that in mind. Please keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Bear that in mind. The flight schedule is subject to weather condition. The flight schedule is subject to weather condition. The flight schedule is subject to change. The flight schedule is subject to change. Do not litter. Do not litter. Littering on the road. Littering the road is subject to maximum fine of 200,000 yen. Littering the trains is subject to maximum fine of 200,000 yen. Littering in the trains is subject to fine of 200,000 yen. Do not litter. There are many pet bottles and cans along the expressway. The drivers must have littered. The drivers must have littered. The drivers must have littered. There are many pet bottles and cans along the expressway. Many drivers must have littered. Many drivers must have littered the expressway. Many drivers must have littered in the expressway. Many drivers must have littered the expressway. There are many pet bottles and cans along the interstate. Many drivers must have littered 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 the interstate. No matter when you go to the amusement park, you will find it crowded. No matter when you visit the amusement park, you will find it packed. Always packed with visitors. The amusement park is always packed with visitors, customers. I'm not good at packing my belongings into the suitcase. I'm not good at packing my belongings into the suitcase. No matter when you go to the amusement park, you will find it packed with visitors. No matter when you go to the restaurant during lunchtime, you will find it packed all the time. Whenever I pass by the restaurant during the lunchtime, it is always packed. It is always packed. Eating lunch in a crowded place will be the last thing I do. Eating lunch in a very crowded place is the last thing I will do. Eating lunch in a very crowded place is the last thing for me to do. That restaurant is always packed. That restaurant is always packed. That restaurant is always packed. Some shops are always packed. Some restaurants are always packed, while others not. Some restaurants are always packed, while others not. Some restaurants are always packed. Some restaurants always packed. Some restaurants are always packed. Some restaurants are always packed. Some restaurants are always packed. We'd better take the same route as we took when we entered. We had better take the same route as we took for the climb. We had better take the same route as we took for the climb. We had better take the same route as we climbed up with. We had better take the same route. We had better take the same route as the one we took when we climbed up. We had better climb down by the same route as we took for the climb. We had better take the same route as we climbed up with. We are better off taking the same route as we took when we climbed up the mountain. We are better off taking the same route as we took when we climbed the mountain. We are better off climbing down the mountain by the same route as we took when we climbed up. We are better off climbing down the mountain with the same route as we took when we climbed up. We would be better off taking the same route as we took when we climbed the mountain. Our examination was interrupted by the noise coming from outside many times. Our recording was interrupted by public announcement many times. Our recording was interrupted by public announcement. Our recording was interrupted by public announcement. Letting go of distractions which interrupt your study comes first. Letting go of interruptions such as smartphone, TV, audio, gadgets, and so on comes first to concentrate on your duty. Letting go of distractions from the environment comes first in order to concentrate on your duty. Can we have a word in private after working? Can we have a word privately? Can we have a word in private after working at the usual restaurant? Can we have a word at the usual hotel restaurant? Can we have a word at the usual hotel restaurant? Can we have a word at the usual hotel restaurant? I'd like to have a word with you in private. I'd like to have a word. I'd like to have a word with you in private today after working about the case, about the matter. I'd like a word with my cousin. Excuse me, I'd like a word with the section in chief. Sorry, but he is busy. Shall I get back to you later when he comes back? Sure. Or can I take a message? No. Please have him call me back. Thank you. Excuse me, I'd like to have a word with the section in chief. Let me see. Okay, I will transfer you to his phone. Please transfer at the international airport. Please do not enter the country. Please go through in transfer line. Please go through transfer line, transfer path, and do not enter the country by mistake. Hmm. Excuse me, I'd like to have a word with general manager. Can I talk with her? Can we talk with him? Let me see if he is available. Sorry, he is in busy. Shall I take a message or have him call you back when he comes back? Okay, please have him call me back. Thank you. Excuse me, I'd like to have a word with general manager of your department. Let me see if he is available. Sorry, he is in a hurry and busy right now. Shall I take a message or have him call you back when he comes back? Please have him call me back. Thank you. I'd like a word with you. I'd like a word with you. I'd like to have a word with you. I'd like a word with you. Can I have a word with you in private after working tonight? Can I have a word with you in private at the usual hotel restaurant tonight? Can we have a word? Can we have a word at the hotel restaurant as usual after working? Can we have a word in a private room after working? Can we have a word? Can we have a word in private at the usual hotel restaurant tonight? Tonight. Can we have a word? Can we have a word? Can we have a word at the usual hotel restaurant tonight in private? Sorry, I'm in a hurry. Can I get back to you later? I will get back to you later. Sorry, yeah, I'm in a hurry. I will get back to you later. Sorry, I'm in a hurry. I will get back to you later. I will get back to you later. You told me that you would get back to me later. But 3 days passed since then. Don't you remember that you said you'd get back to me later? Don't you remember that you said you'd get me back later? Get back to me later. Don't you remember that you said you'd get back to me later on the phone 2 days ago? Don't you remember that you said you'd call me back a few minutes later? And 3 days passed already. Don't you remember that you said you'd call me back? You'd get back to me. 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 Few minutes later. Don't you remember that you said that you would get back to me few minutes later? Okay, it's time we went back to our duty. Okay, it's time we got down to the duty. It's time we got down to the duty. I will not be astonished by such a thing. I will not be astonished at such a thing. Because I saw more incredible things ever. Because I've seen more incredible things ever. Because I've experienced more incredible things ever. I will not be astonished at such things, for I have experienced more incredible things ever. I will not be surprised, I will not be astonished at the volume of the food eaten by the food fighter, for I have seen more incredible food fighter ever. I will not be astonished at the amount of food eaten by the food fighter, for I've been watching more incredible food fighters on videos. Okay, I will finish speaking here. Thank you for watching. See you next time. See you!